Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hyrule Chronicles. This is episode 106, and it's also the 5th anniversary of the stream/podcast. We've been going 5 years almost to the day. It started February 18th, 2017, 18?
18.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't look a day over two. I don't know if that worked.
That's true. But yeah, I am Articulate the Game Master, and as always, I have Renji Vox being played by the Netherlad, who is also celebrating an anniversary, if I am correct.
That is me, and yes, I've been streaming on my channel for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Oh god. Wow.
Yay.
Yeah. I have Alvarez being playing Hikan Sio.
Well, I mean, it'd be a lot more fun if it was the other way around.
I have Zion Shari being played by Rubber Pirate.
Hello there.
I have Keystruth playing Max.
Hi.
So, friends, what happened last time?
Well, allow me to regale you with a tale. A long time ago, in the ancient history of Hyrule, there lived a tribe of mages. They rebelled against Hyrule, attempting to take control of the Golden Realm and the Triforce that lay within. In order to do so, they attacked the King of Hyrule, but failed to take the Triforce. For their transgressions, these mages were banished to a different realm. This realm became known as the Twilight Realm, and the mages became the Twilight. Time passed, and eventually most knowledge of these mages was lost to time, and the rest of it was guarded carefully by the guardians of the royal family, the Sheikah. But one tome of secret knowledge found its way into the hands of a rebellious young Sheikah, making it possible for one of the Twilight to make contact, and a pact was forged. Through the actions of this foolish young Sheikah, the Twilight known as the Harvester gathered power, creating vessels for itself and its minions to once more raise the lands of Hyrule. It set its plans in motion after tricking the young Sheikah into setting it free from the Twilight Realm, spreading its influence around the ziggurat that was once its laboratory. But even as it reached the throne room, coming face to face with Hyrule's recently crowned king, the young Sheikah and his companions breached the throne room and slew the Harvester, thwarting its plan to steal the Triforce once more.
Yeah. Exactly. And we rejoin this group. After such an arduous battle. In the midst of their rest somewhat. Oh, hang on. What's this?
What's this?
Sorry, I just had an alert thing come up on my computer that said threat secured. It's like, how? I'm not browsing the web in any capacity.
What?
Do I need to know that, computer?
Okay. Well, I'll just... Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, you are currently... Well, you've been told by Impa to catch your breath for 15 minutes. We'll need to have a chat about what just happened. More explicitly, she said no one leaves town until this is hashed out. You are this order was given while you were explicitly while you were in the throne room. And
It was
while
a royal order by
Royal order
Royal
explicit.
nod.
Yeah, it was a royal order. Like Impa Volin told the 3 royal children that it was a royal order that you stay in town. Um,
Oh dear.
but otherwise, it's like catch your breath, patch your wounds. She's gonna do the same and make sure that the royal family are also doing much the same. While the remainder of the guards finish doing their cleanup of what's left as the fighting that was around the city turns in the favor of Hyrule. The guards around town begin to rally, and with the help of clerics and whatnot, begin putting down a bunch of these shadow beasts, which has also helped as the fighting had ended, the sun was beginning to rise outside. But yeah, so
symbolism.
in the intervening time, what do you do?
I think, knowing that we'll have to, talk with Impa in the next 15 minutes, I think Renji will just, for the moment, rush out into the rest of the castle and try to see if there's any guards that need direct reinforcement.
Okay.
And we'll probably be fighting for about 10 minutes, and then okay, I really do have to go back, make my way back to the castle throne room, and then use what remaining time I have to clean up my armor.
Literally the instant Impa said fine, Hikan left the throne room. Hikan is not aware that there is a royal order to stay in town. Not that he would have left anyway. But
I think you were gone before the fine.
No, because it was be here in 5 minutes, and it was can I have 15?
Okay.
Fine, gone.
Yeah.
And I'm heading to the house to check on the Maxes specifically, because it's a very stressful situation, and having volatile dragon individuals in a city siege is probably a dangerous mix.
Yeah,
most likely.
Okay. Max, Zayden, what is it that you guys are doing?
Max has not moved from the spot. He is trying not to explode.
Okay.
I guess Sidon will just check over the people in the room, see if anyone's injured or needs any help.
Okay.
There were some guards who got hit.
Yeah. So you all set about your various tasks. Starting from the throne room, everybody is wisely giving Max a wide berth.
They better.
Despite Impa's disposition previously, she's not antagonizing you to calm the fuck down anymore. She's just like, so long as you're not going anywhere, that'll do. Because I think she probably has just enough professional experience with you in tow to know, okay, this is a professional hazard, so we'll deal with it accordingly.
Max is not currently angry at me. I do not need to retaliate.
Yeah. Not angry at her or her charges.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Zayden, you go about and help some of the guards back onto their feet, patch their wounds with whatever magic you might have left, and making sure to save some, of course, just in case, and guiding them over to places where they can sit a bit more comfortably, while the more healthy guards will depart from the throne room and go and aid their fellows in the rest of the castle. Speaking of which, Renji...
I do have a plus 11 medicine as well. So
But yeah, you begin you begin working on things. Renji, as you kind of charge through a number of the hallways in the castle, you know this place like the back of your hand. You know where to go, where like certain potential troublesome corridors might be. There aren't many shadow creatures left, but whatever ones there are left, you are able to very quickly and decisively take care of them.
I could also do like some really quick first aid. My medicine bonus is +4.
Yeah.
And this is basically just processing, I think, knowledge that I siphoned off of the harvester.
Yeah.
Actually, because of Jack of all trades, but you know.
But yeah, you rush forward to cut down whatever is left, and within the 10 minutes that you've allotted yourself in this process, you do manage to quite handily turn the tide, even more so against whatever remains, and the now rallied guards in the castle are able to, will probably in the next 10 minutes or so be able to secure the castle itself quite handily. Hikan, with your enhanced speed, you rush out of the castle, over the wall, over the light barrier that Uriel had previously put up, that has now successfully surrounded the entire perimeter, and you hop into the residential district to navigate your way to your house. Suffice to say, it's not a complete maelstrom of elemental chaos. One thing that occurs to you as you see the scene before you is that Maximus and Maximilian or Maxwell, I forget, is it Maxwell, the fire one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So while Maxwell is much like Max in that the more emotional and frightened and angry he gets, the more his magic flares, Maximilian is the opposite. He's able to control his magics and use his magics. The calmer he is and the more frightened and terrified he is, the less he's able to actually manifest anything. So when you get to the house, you do find errant scorch marks along the street. Most of the windows have been blown out. The little house with the tower at the south side of the property, the stone tower's still there. The wooden building next to it, not so much.
Oh no.
I was also going to confirm, you say the stone tower is there. Is it still vertical?
Yeah.
It's okay. I've been to the Twin Saw Initiative. We can get it fixed.
Yeah.
It'll buff right out, don't worry.
But yeah, like the good news is that the house is still standing. You just might need to replace the windows and maybe replace the building.
Get ourselves a fireproof room.
Maybe. But yeah,
stone generally is fireproof.
I mean,
honestly, in this particular case, I'm glad it's only the small wooden building that wasn't used and the windows.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you have a look around at this scene. How do you approach this situation?
It's definitely kind of rushing over, taking a look around, and then if I notice that there's not any immediate danger, I will kind of call out to the draconic siblings as I approach. So that way it's not like, that way I don't like bust in the door and then get hit with a fireball. I'll be fine. But statistically speaking.
Yeah. You call out, and then after a moment you see like a shape move in the window, at which point like one of the upper floor windows, and then after that amount of time, like Maxwell pokes his head out through it and says, "Hey,
Good. Are you guys okay? Are you guys hurt?
Not hurt. I'm really sorry about.
You did good. No, you did good. You did exactly what you were supposed to do in this situation. You're fine. I just wanted to make sure that you guys were okay, that you guys are feeling okay. We'll probably be back in a little bit. There's a couple other things that we needed to check on, but stuff kind of calmed down a bit, so I just wanted to make sure you guys were good.
Okay. Um, we'll be here. Uh,
I'll be back with the others in probably a couple hours at most.
Okay.
Okay. And Hikan will wave, because if they're like Max, they're not the ones that just want a hug type of thing, and they're in a building and he's not. And
Yeah.
after making sure that they're okay, he turns around and runs back to the castle.
Yeah. You run back to the castle. You manage to hop over the wall of light and back into the castle rather quickly. It's yeah. You as the 15 minutes come to a close, and everybody regroups into the throne room. Most of the guards have disappeared, apart from like 2 of them who have remained behind. Aaliyah has taken up position next to the royal family. She has not let go of her weapon, and is just kind of standing guard. Her eyes dart over the room at every possible entry point and exit point, and even ones that, like, even supposedly blank walls that is just kind of there as she looks over. And Impa just kind of folds her arms and paces slightly, though she seems a bit calmer than when she told you guys 15 minutes and we talk.
Point of order.
Mm-hmm.
Would Impa have wanted Mara here as well?
She's not.
Because Mara does have Ascending Stone, so.
Yeah. If she did, she hasn't mentioned it.
Okay.
Yeah. After a moment, she stops pacing and turns to regard all of you, and takes in a deep breath. Okay. So, I'm not gonna fly off the handle on this one. I just want to know what happened.
Renji folds his arms and says, my attempt to get rid of my allegiance or my ties to that went awry. You can tell he's really embarrassed and ashamed by this, and he tricked me.
Impa nods a bit.
Up from the Grandmaster says, he was a lying bitch.
He said that I would be told how to break the pact with him if I would slay beasts of great power. When I did so, I was told to go to an ancient ziggurat to the south of Castletown. We got through there. In the process, we actually were waylaid by Delilah Summerborn. As we stopped her, knocked her out. We were led further into this sanctum. Well, no. Laboratory. And I was told to and I actually try and summon the blade, but it doesn't show up. I was told to pierce a dais or an altar of some kind with the weapon that I was granted. When I did so, it opened I think it opened a portal, or it brought us into its realm. And it was able to cross over into ours.
Right.
In the process, we actually got turned into animals as well. That was weird. Uriel helped us get out of that scrape.
Okay. Okay. And she kind of nods a bit herself.
If you wish to know if we caused this incursion, indirectly, I alone did.
And like glances at you, and glances at all the others.
Hikan staring at Renji like, really?
Max is giving her a look like, and I do it again.
She goes, right. Okay. Well. And she meets your gaze, Max, and says, I have it under good authority that apparently this guy was a lying bitch. So, given the circumstances and what it was, it does not surprise me that such an entity would manipulate you into doing something that would work to his advantage. It is not a pleasant experience what has just transpired. Can't sugarcoat that.
I understand.
But I don't think, at least in my opinion, that we need to hold this against you in any way.
At that, my eyes immediately dart over to the royal siblings.
Like, as you look at the three of them, Sophitia seems to be the one who understands the most. She kind of like looks on and at this and just kind of nods a bit and says, "Yeah, I get it. Like, you were put into a difficult situation, and like you were given the earliest opportunity in order to try and get out of it, and weren't aware of the full consequences because the Harvester obfuscated that. So there's no like I'd forgive you." She says in a glance. Rufus kind of looks over you and like he doesn't look betrayed or scared or like terribly frightened or anything. He just kind of like thinks it over a bit, and he is 12, so he's kind of it's a bit much for him to kind of mull over the complexities of the morality of your choices up to this point. Because he doesn't really exactly know where the Harvester came from or what his motivations were. All he knew was that it was a big monster that stormed the castle, and you guys stopped it. Congrats.
His prefrontal cortex isn't fully formed yet.
Yeah. Marius, he looks positively sick. Not the idea that you are getting away with this, if there is anything to get away with. He just looks like he's had a day, and he has, and you know...
He's seen several of his guardsmen die before him.
Yeah,
I understand.
And, like, him being in the position of king is not something that he envisioned and asked for, strictly speaking. He is not coping well with any of this, and this was just yet another thing that happened on his watch, and it was like, he's had to grow up extremely quickly for a 16-year-old, even if he was even if he was a bit of a brat prior to his father being killed. He's not ready for any of this. So he's like, there is the slightest shade of green to his complexion as he's just kind of trying his very best to cope. But Impa simply says, "This was something that I don't think any of us had foreseen. From what we understood about individuals like the Harvester, at least from my own academics, I suppose, there is not much that we expected of people being able to escape somewhere like the Twilight Realm. So, and again, he was manipulating you. There's not much else that we can say on that front. He saw someone in a vulnerable position and took advantage of that. There's gonna have to be some, I suppose, discussion in regards to security and what to do now, but I mean, we all saw with our own eyes you killed him. That threat is gone. We'll have to see if there are any other ways that anyone can get out of the Twilight Realm without the way they were sent into it. But that's just going to be something that we'll have to do over a long period of time."
Understood.
Are you okay?
During the last moments of the fight, I don't know why, but I attempted to siphon off more knowledge, more power from the Harvester. I made the passive receiving of knowledge and spells and abilities, and I actively pulled it from the Harvester. I'm possibly not feeling myself 100% at the moment. There are factoids, theorems going through my mind about the way we interact, the way we speak, and I turn to Impa directly. Your counsel is softer than that of Zelish. I don't know what that says about me or about you or about Zelish, but he would not have forgiven me so quickly.
Sighs a bit and says, "What happened to King Alexander was probably toughest on Zelish most of all. And that's mostly because of who Zelish was and how long he had been with the king. Remember, Zelish is among the oldest among us. He's at least 2 centuries old. And he had been assigned to be King Alexander's bodyguard since the day he was born. That day, Zelish lost his son, effectively, and failed in the duty that he was so adamant that he wanted to fulfill. He was furious and probably acted out of that fury.
He was also one of the foremost Shika of our entire tribe. I don't think he acted out of just an emotional shock. The way he reacted to the realization that I was, at least in part, knowledgeable about the Twilight.
I mean, there is something about that, but you'd be surprised. Regardless, I know you probably a little better than Zelish does. And your father, most of all, out of the 4 of us, probably knows you the best, even if you might not see eye to eye.
Mm.
We both know, everybody in this room knows, probably, she gives a side eye to Alea, that knowledge and power and whatever it is, they're just tools. A sword isn't inherently bad. Depends on who holds it. But Zelish is different. He's from a generation long past any of us.
Mm-hmm.
I think in that moment, he just put too many connections together, some of which didn't mean anything. But then again, I wasn't there. I only heard it secondhand from Nihilus. So, suffice to say, you're not a bad person, Renji.
I believe there's one more thing that I forgot in our debriefing here.
Mm-hmm.
The assailant of the king, Delilah Briarwood. Sorry, not Delilah Briarwood, darn it. Delilah
Different Delilah.
Whoops.
Crossing the streams.
Crossing the streams. Oh dear.
No.
But the assailant of the king, Delilah Summerborn, we knocked her unconscious. But as I struck the dais at the ziggurat, and the harvester appeared, he broke our pacts immediately. And that caused Delilah Briarwood.
Just say Delilah.
Delilah
Yeah.
was taken by her other patron. I believe it's the last we'll see of her, though there's part of me that doubts that.
Okay.
But she was taken.
Right. So, if my math works out, that means that of the major enemies of Hyrule that we have thus far dealt with, we have Torquin has been dealt with.
Maxis nods.
The King's Assassin has been dealt with.
Hmm.
The Twilight Cartel is down to one person. Okay. We're making good progress. We're almost done, at least from what I can understand. But we'll have to discuss exactly what it is that we're going to be doing another time. I think at this point, however, it is... He kind of glances at one of the broken windows and sees the early morning light and says, "It is now the next day. I think it's probably best if you go and get a full rest as much as you need. Get some food, tend to your wounds, do whatever you need to do in order to get your senses back up. I might need to have another proper, more energized debrief with all of you as to what you plan on doing next.
I don't mean to interrupt, Lady Impa, but after our latest excursion to the Plain of Lament, when we arrived back in Sarkosa, we met with Lady Milrose and Lady Risha, and Lady Risha would like to talk to us back in Sarkosa at some point to investigate what's happening in the West.
Right.
Also, we might be able to bring Simeon back.
Oh?
Apparently, Minister Simeon's image, his spirit, was trapped within the Plain of Lament. As we escaped, we took him with us, and we have had some communication with him on this plane, suggesting that we managed to break him free from the Plain of Lament, and as such we would like to attempt to resurrect him once more.
She kind of thinks it over. Says, "Okay, well, you're more magically knowledgeable than I am. How do you plan on doing this?"
Diamonds. We need diamonds. And
we can get it. It's just something that is part of the discussion things.
Mm-hmm. It is something that we are going to be doing on our by ourselves. If there's part of you that says like we would like to help with this, that's fine. But I think having a experienced minister back in this world alive and able to help with supporting Hyrule Castle Town and the surrounding regions, it might be a good place for a young king to be in.
Kind of look like Impa looks to Aaliyah, and Leah just kind of like shrugs slightly. The three siblings kind of think it over before Rufus eventually pipes up and says, "Well, we can supply the diamonds if that helps."
Yes, sir, that would be most helpful. Thank you, Your Highness.
Like there's a look from his elder siblings. It's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Well, it's bringing someone back to life. Isn't that like really important?" And like,
we wouldn't necessarily advocate. I wouldn't necessarily advocate for breaking the natural cycle. However, this was again a targeted attack by enemies of the state. As such,
also Simeon said he wanted to.
There is that. Yes.
Like Rufus points. It's like, It's like, okay. Safiti just kind of smiles and shakes her head, and Marius just kind of slowly nods, still quite ill from the looks of things. And Impa says, well, I suppose that settles that. If I might make a suggestion, though, perhaps it would be a good idea to speak to Lord Das as well. Without Lord Draymore around anymore, he's kind of fallen as I suppose, on board magical knowledge person. And given that he is the head of the religious aspects of town, he might have a more spiritual perspective if that needs to be done.
Thank you for your suggestion. Yes.
In the meantime, go and get some rest. I'll call you in when I can. I might need Mara here as well, if possible. And perhaps Uriel. You said Uriel said that he aided, so by all means, it would be nice to speak to him as well.
He erected a barrier outside of the castle after helping us with our bestial problem.
Good.
Yeah, it's around like the entire castle. It's pretty impressive.
Well, if that's the case, then I would very much like to speak to him. In the meantime, go and get some sleep.
I nod, bow, and will retire to my quarters.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a bath.
It's gonna hobble out.
Hikan will offer an arm if Max wants to take it, but understands if Max doesn't.
He seems a bit distracted right now. He keeps like gripping at his back, but he wasn't injured there, so it's a bit weird.
I'm so excited for this, though.
But yes, so given express orders to go and get some sleep, you make your way out of the castle or to your rooms or wherever it is that you intend to sleep for the night.
I'm going home.
You're going home?
I'm asking Uriel nicely to lower the barrier, and by nicely I mean lower the fucking barrier.
Yeah, by the time you from a casual stroll point of view, by the time you get to the interior wall of Castletown, you see that the light barrier is just kind of descends. Given that you're probably going out the west gate, you probably don't see off screen where Uriel just kind of goes, done, and just like collapses where he stands.
You also burned all your spell slots, I see.
But yeah, but you make your way back home to the house that no longer has any windows and a patch of kindling where a wooden building was, and yeah.
I think after my soak, I will actually also head to the house.
Max is basically dead on his feet, but he's still going to go around and repair some of the windows with mending.
I think as Renji returns and sees Max do this, I think Renji will join him and just looks at the spell being cast. And then just starts doing the same.
Hikan looks around the house.
Shortly after you join Max in doing that, Max will just go to a corner and collapse.
Oh.
Hikan looks around the house, makes sure Maxwell and everyone's all good. Everyone's calm, everyone's home, everyone's safe. And then Hikan pulls a Uriel and just collapses on the floor.
Buddies.
Mm.
Floor buddies.
Oh dear. Is
think
that
I
is
will
that also? I'll go for it.
I think I will try and like be kind and ask them how they're doing, but it comes across very stilted for the moment. And more like what is wrong with you rather than is everything okay?
Are the boys in the room?
Maximilian has kind of sequestered himself to one of the top floor rooms, like any kind of space that he could find, where he's just kind of like sitting quietly, waiting for whatever storm has appeared to pass. One of the things you do know,
someone should probably go tell him that.
Yeah.
It's over now.
Hikan's acts of service brain gets up and he starts going upstairs.
Yeah.
One of the things you do notice as you had wandered into the house is that outside the front door, there appears to be what melted remains of what used to be a pair of leather boots, followed by barefoot scorch marks that have burned themselves into the wooden floor, with a stride longer than you'd expect it to. A casual arcana check from anybody reveals that Maxwell probably used a shuttle on stride at one point.
Oops.
But yeah, he kind of like Maxwell in particular has kind of been like you see him as you go around repairing windows. He looks a bit sheepish at the damage that he's caused and is more or less just kind of trying to busy himself by keeping a good 6 foot distance from a window by looking out of it to see if there are any further threats. But after a while, he kind of peters out himself and finds a good place to sleep.
Before he does, hey.
Hey.
You been having weird back pain lately?
No.
No idea what the fuck this is.
He kind of says, well, I'll let you know if I start feeling it.
Alright, thanks. Night.
He says with
I say first thing in the morning.
Yeah. Like there's a pause as he after a moment as you walk away to go find a place to collapse, he just looks out a window and sees the sunrise. It's just like right.
As someone that works graveyard, night is when you make it.
Yeah, I can understand that. But yeah. Zayden, what are you up to? Have you gone back to the house?
No, Zayden's gone into town to continue his efforts that he started in the castle of providing medical aid where he can.
Okay. Yeah. As you walk through the streets of Hyrule Castle Town, you notice that despite it being morning, and from the previous times of when you've seen this time of day in town, instead of there being the start of everybody's work day, market stalls being set up, that sort of thing, it's just this kind of quiet, with the occasional group of guards rushing over to whatever nearby station they need to be at, and then coordinating orders and moving over. The alarm bells have stopped, thankfully, but there's still quite an active guard presence, and occasionally you see a group of 10 troops descend upon this one remaining shadow beast in a nearby alley and just fucking tear it apart before the shade emerges from the corpse suit and is instantly evaporated in the morning sun. It's it's a very coordinated effort, but from what you can see, the worst of it is over, and now everything is getting back to normal. As you go through town and get towards the slums, where people are probably quite, more scared than usual, as well as probably not as well protected, you do run into two familiar faces, Paulie and Tony, who are currently just like they seem to have taken charge over the guard position here, having been given their jobs back quite a while ago after dealing with the whole Twilight Cartel nonsense. They kind of begin like going around, spears in hand, just checking down alleyways, knocking on doors to ask if people are all right, and then moving on as they do. They when they see you, they both stop and wave and say, "Oh, hey, it's you, Titan."
Hello. Are you well here?
Oh, yeah, it was scary business. But seems that the worst of it is past, huh?
Yeah. Have you set up a medical tent?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've decided to put one near the wasp's nest. It's a small thing, and we've got people working as they can, but it's what we can do. We're just going around now to make sure everybody's all right, and then we'll just keep an eye out as best we can.
I'll go help if they're willing.
Like Polly just kind of like shrugs and says, "Well, I don't think anyone's going to turn down an extra pair of hands, huh?"
I'll look to his companion.
And Tony says, "Yeah, it should be fine. As I say, if you head close to the wasp's nest, there's just a medical station where supplies are being put out and everything. If you want to join us on patrol, it shouldn't take too long. We're just going around the doors, making sure everybody's all right, and then we'll just keep doing our circuit, making sure we haven't missed anything, that sort of thing."
If you feel that you are okay on your own, I'll just head straight to helping with the medical.
Of course. And thank you again for your help. You're always so helpful, sir.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. The group, the two of them continue their patrol around, and you make your way over to near the wasp's nest, where there is a fairly sizable crowd, where chirurgeons and priests from the temple district have set up a spot where they're checking in on everybody's wounds and stuff, and making sure everybody has a decent amount of food to help with the situation. It's a little chaotic, but otherwise it seems to be going all right.
Okay, I'll find whoever's in charge and offer my aid as well as a bag of good berries.
Yeah. You quickly find the person in charge. This broad-shouldered, long-haired young man who seems to be kind of coordinating everybody. He seems to like kind of pass things out quite quickly in all directions. Like when someone asks something for him, while he's in the middle of a conversation with somebody else, someone asks something for him, he without looking takes something and passes it to them, and they run off to take care of whatever it is. But as you approach, he looks over and says, "Oh, hey, hi, are you doing all right, sir?"
Hello, my name's Zaitan Shari. I'm not sure if you are aware of me. I'm a magical healer by trade and wanting to help out. I also have a bag here of magical fruit.
Oh, fantastic! We'll add it to our stock. If you have, I mean, if you're a magical healer by trade, by all means, we have a lot of people. And sadly, they're not exactly organized, but we make do. Just feel free to start where you see fit, and yeah, we'll hopefully get through to the other side of this, huh?
Okay, will do.
And you join
So
the
I
mix.
will, I guess, go look around and start doing some triage.
Yeah. I won't make you roll. You have all the time in the world. You begin your triage, and many of the faces that you see who are looking for aid are ones that you recognize from the previous times you've come and performed some good old humanitarian work, and are more than trusting of you to see to their wounds and seek food and everything, and are forever thankful for the work that you have done.
And one lucky person, since I had regenerate prepared, will get to have a regenerate on them.
Yeah.
Which is just, if you had any medical issues, they're probably solved now.
Oh yeah, it's certainly a crowd pleaser.
This person lost their legs 2 years ago. Well, have some legs again.
Yeah.
I got better.
Come watch Jimmy get his arm back.
But yeah, you continue this work for quite a while.
Didn't people used to pay to see surgeries?
I think
Yeah,
so.
some of them were ridiculous.
Yeah. But yeah,
That thing.
You managed to, within the span of a couple of hours, see to most of the people looking for aid within the slums, and even some people who turn up from some of the other neighboring districts. They come and seek help, and you kind of, after a time, like probably after you've exhausted all of your spells and the crowd has quietened down to a point where it can be managed independently, you find yourself well, it depends. Do you immediately go back to the house in order to rest? It's now like probably like early to mid morning.
Yeah, I
By
think
the
at
time
that point it'll be done all I can, and no one's seeking help. I'll head back home.
yeah, you leave with a pleased crowd behind you, waving you off. Just more goodwill spread to them, and the people who work there forever thankful for easing the burden of helping with easing the burden of these of this unfortunate situation. But you return back to the house. The windows have been repaired. There's still a pile of splinters and burning wood where one of the buildings used to be.
Is it still burning?
Well, it's like smoldering.
Okay.
Well, I never saw that the windows are broken, so
Yeah, like it's looking a bit better.
Renji's been working on that.
Yeah.
After Max stopped.
Yeah. But you managed to get back, and you go to your room and have a nice, pleasant lie down, and you all have a nice, pleasant rest. I suppose the only key difference at this point would be that for you, Renji, the night is quiet. Like there's this, I suppose there might be this weird expectation that something's meant to visit you in your sleep at this point, but
yeah,
it's oddly quiet, just for the difference that this situation makes.
feels weird.
Yeah. You wake up nightmare free, and yeah, and it is a It is a new day. 4 hours later, into the late morning, I would say. Maximilian and Maxwell are still sleeping because they lack the capability to rest for a shorter period of time as you do. But each of you wake up having fully rested, with all of your hit points back, and yeah.
I have so many more spell slots.
I'm just thinking this is going to be a terrible time. Now that we've like slept in the middle of the day, it's going to take ages to get our cycle back to normal. Stay up really late.
Yeah.
Just gotta not sleep. No, that never works. It never
No.
works.
No, that's
That
definitely
never
how it works,
works.
right?
No.
Oh dear. Yeah. So as you wake up, depending on what it is that you wish to do, you know that Impa needs to speak with you again. But she is also aware that you probably have other duties that you need to take care of. So, what is the plan for today, folks?
Yeah, what's our list of priorities? Elvrans, you're muted.
Whoops. I believe that she said she'd send for us when she's ready. But that being said, the couple of priorities that I know we have otherwise are talk to Lord Das because of spiritual reasons, and visit Uriel because Uriel told us to come see him for the crystal.
Mm-hmm. I'm quite curious about that one.
I mean, worst comes to worst, a lot of the other stuff that was kind of like, stop by the Twin Saw Initiative to see if they'll fix up the thing. If we want that fixed up, could be just like sent in a.
It's not really a priority.
No.
It could also just be sent in a like request letter type of thing. Will you do this for this money?
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, you so which do you want to do first? Who wants to do what?
You want the pretty item first, or do we want to go see if we can deal with Simeon first?
I think dealing with Simeon and such. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I say who's closest.
Das is by a little bit. Das is
And
here, and Uriel's is just a little bit further from him.
also, like, yeah, we should probably do that first then.
Because we're at the house.
Yeah.
Then
Just go
we definitely we need to go here to Lord Das. We need to go here. We also need to go to the castle for, the diamonds, but also to talk with Impa. So I think
Also, you gotta find where Mara went.
Mara was, I believe, over at Uriel's for the period that we saw her. But yeah, we need to figure out. She probably, with the time that has been, that's passed, I think she might be back at the castle because that's where she has her quarters, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely certain about it.
Okay. So, you gather your things, you make your way back out into the street. Since the danger has more or less passed, people are attempting to get back to whatever it is that they were doing, but they are also kind of focusing on repairing damage that has occurred, and just taking the day to ensure everything is all right. You go through each of the roads that you are fully aware of to get to Lord Das's estate, which, much like every other noble within Castle Town, is essentially the same cookie-cutter building that even Simeon and Rickshaw and Risha have. It's just kind of the standard office / residential place that is quite large, but is otherwise just the same make and model as everybody else's.
Very odd.
Yeah. You see the two guards standing outside the door. I suppose the only other difference between this place and every other place is that there's a lot more obvious symbolism of the goddess Chronica, who Das is a worshipper of. Just kind of like symbols and statues that have populated the walls and the garden that sits out front of the main entrance.
Now I wonder if he'll have time for us.
I'll ask him.
Okay.
Go say that to his face.
Dave. You can do
I can try.
Yeah. So you head over to the door. The two guards stand to attention. One of them says, "Hold a second. Might I ask your business?"
Yes, we are the Storm's Eye. We wish to speak with Lord Das concerning matters of state.
In spirit.
Very well. Wait here a moment. I will go and check in on him. And opens the door, enters inside, closes the door. The other guard just kind of stands straight, and kind of waits rather awkwardly in silence as the other one, after a time, comes back out, and behind him stands Lord Das, a tall and imposing Hylian man, who, despite his apparent age, seems quite physically capable. He's got this wide, bulky frame built for combat, and
war priest. A war priest.
More or less. Paladin is probably more accurate.
Fair.
And he kind of like, he has a few scars on his face, some of which are aged, some of which are very fresh, and he looks down to each of you, or I guess at equal level to some of you, because one or two of you are quite tall, being Sheikah.
I'm not.
And he says, "Good morning. How might I help you?"
May we speak privately?
I don't see why not. Please, come on in.
Thank you.
He heads back inside, making sure to keep the door open as you all enter. He guides you to a audience chamber just off the side from the main lobby of the building, and gestures to the sofa and one of the other seats as he takes a seat of his own and says, "Please have a seat."
Raiden will take a seat on the sofa.
Same.
Max is gonna lean against the wall because his back still hurts, and it helps.
Mm-hmm.
Fair. There might be a stool or something.
Oh no, you said another chair, so if Max is going to stand against the wall, Hikan will pause a moment and then be like, oh yeah, I should probably take that seat then.
Lord Das, I am not entirely certain if you are up to speed about what we as the Storm's Eye have been doing.
I haven't been given much in the way of information regarding the Storm's Eye. No, I know that you are part of a more
intricate task force set forth by the royal family, but that is as much as I have been made privy to. It seems what information that is gained from your expeditions, it is not a matter for my eyes, which is fine.
Then let me inform you about a certain matter that we have been that we have undertaken. The group of us have been dealing with matters both on the Prime plane as well as other planes of existence, due to the fact that one of our enemies having power over said other dimension. It turned out that the spirit of Lord Simeon, after having been murdered, was held in the plane of lament. We have managed to free his spirit in our in the line of our duties.
Right. He kind of thinks a moment as he relays a bunch of information in the back of his mind, and says, yes. I remember the night that Simeon had unfortunately passed away. I was unable to do much in the way of aiding the situation. By the time I arrived at his family's graveyard, it was too late. He was dead as well as every other undead that was there. Well, when you say freed, do you know where his spirit is now? Has it been sent to the next world where it might find rest?
No. Rather, his ghost has stayed with us for a period, and then made his own way to Hyrule Castle Town here.
Probably in the library reading the titles because he can't grab the books.
Interesting. He kind of thinks over it a bit and says, when you say manifested, do you mean he is as a Poe? Or is there...
Similarly, yes. We actually encountered him as a Poe within the Plane of Lament. He was then fully visible to us and corporeal, if that is how it works over there. When we brought him back here, his form wasn't visible any longer. I could detect him through magical means, and we were able to communicate. But since we parted ways as we arrived over at Port Sarkosa, we have not had communication with him.
The Poe that we interacted with at the beginning of the game was one of Whitestone's boys, right?
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't exactly like a Poe. The shape was a little bit different.
Sure.
He had the lantern, but he wasn't like the young Lord Whitestone that we helped.
Interesting.
The reason for our visit is that we plan to have him be resurrected. And Lady Impa had suggested that we speak with you about this matter.
I see. Well, my own magical capabilities are not exactly that grand, but from what I understand of the word on the street of the Storm's Eye, I think you might have that part covered.
I don't think we do.
Oh.
You not grab resurrection?
Druids don't get it.
Is it in their expanded list?
Druids go straight. They get reincarnate, and then they go up to true resurrection at 9th level spells. But they never
We're
get
in between.
resurrection.
Just a second.
It's a
Unless it is
7th level
expanded.
bard spell.
Okay. Look, I'm not a full caster, okay?
I know.
I'm not going to be a full caster.
It's bard and cleric.
Yeah.
Bard and cleric. Okay. Yeah, because as I said, Lord Das is a paladin. The best he can do is 5th level magic.
Ooh, apparently divine soul sorcerers can do it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get
I'm the
cleric
wrong round
spells.
for that.
So, like, mechanically speaking, your options are get Sophitia to level 15, because that's the only divine soul sorcerer you know.
He was part of the Harvester fight. That's got to be 5 levels. Come on.
Oh dear. But yeah,
We know where Tundra is. No, I'm kidding. We're friends with Tundra. Not friends, but friends.
Yeah, didn't
We're not-
power
we're
level
not
Sophitia?
enemies.
I
I was just gonna suggest, like, what if we just got all of the religiously inclined people to do a big ritual and have that be a spell? But I don't know how this shit works. So.
Let's see. I did roll a thing for dust, but I think I need to roll another thing. Oh, natural 20. Okay.
Ooh. He
so-
knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah. Das kind of like thinks over what he remembers from his like own personal training. He says,
Well, there is a couple of things that can be done if you are lacking in immediate means. I do not know if there are scrolls of this type. What I gather, you'll probably be wanting to speak to Uriel about such a thing.
I'm gonna go talk to him anyway.
There's also the capability that with enough people in a certain fashion, you should be able to bring someone back. But what concerns me the most is the manifestation of your of Lord Simeon in this situation. You say that he was trapped on another plane of existence, correct?
Correct.
Under normal circumstances, magic that keeps people in a specific place is very difficult to have them let go. It's not so much about taking them out of a box and then putting them outside of said box. It is a bit more complex than that. So my suggestion would be that it might be worth ensuring that he is truly free of the plane of lament, whatever it might be, and then attempting your resurrection. Otherwise, you might be wasting a lot of time and money for ultimately the same result.
Do you know how we can make this certain?
kind of thinks over it a bit and says,
Might be a bit complicated, but I have heard of magical items called dimensional shackles. Perhaps if you were to be able to somehow affix them to Simeon's ethereal form, it will affix his spirit here in this plane, even if it is on the ethereal level. That might have a bit more tug compared to your standard aspects here. But that's the only workaround I can think of. The alternative is to try and find some other magical means of severing whatever tie that might be keeping him in the Plane of Lament.
Well, he's not in the Plane of Lament anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if... So this would be more of a slightly variation on things. So Druid does have the ability for planar binding, which technically is for Celestials, Elemental, Fae, or Fiends. But I wonder if, for the sake of this, it could take the place of Dimensional Shackles.
Good work. Yeah. Darcy's concern at this point is that because Simeon's spirit on this plane has manifested in such a fashion that even in his current state, he is unable to speak to you or really interact with the physical world. Like, he's even more ephemeral and not really there compared to most ghosts, that there's still a part of him that's connected to the plane he was trapped on. So he's wondering whether or not this might cause a complication in if you were to just resurrect him as he is now. That's Darcy's concern, though. He's
wants
not
to be thorough.
100% sure.
Is Lord Das the equivalent of, like, Hyrule's Pope?
Not really. Because Hyrule itself is polytheistic, it's difficult for him to be, like, the Pope. He, like...
Yeah, it probably cause a schism if one person's religious person was in charge of all the religion.
Yeah, he's only really like he's more or less the religious spokesperson for the court of Hyrule. And while he is like, from what you remember, he is Grand Master Paladin of the Order of Chronica. So he's high up there, but he's not like in charge of the church. It's just that he's probably the most pragmatic member of that religion, so to speak. That he's able to
like, even within the order of, like, Chronica's church, is he the most senior ranked person there, or is he more
not,
like
no. He holds a position of power, but he is not in charge of the thing. He's I think there is actually something that you probably pull from your, like, a passive history roll, that there is a specific rule politically that says that whoever is going to be minister of religion or minister of faith for Hyrule, they cannot be the head of a church.
I see. I understand. Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah. So, yeah, as I said, Das wants to be sure that every box is ticked before bringing someone back. Otherwise, it's a lot of magic and time and money that's ultimately going down the drain.
I mean, I can go over to Lord Simeon's estate, cast Dispel Magic as a ritual, because I have to do that now. And just look around for a while. Wait.
Detect magic.
It's detect magic, and do I have it?
You can get it if you don't have it.
Did you take it?
I thought I did. I might have.
Pretend you did. Don't.
I do. I have it. Yes, of course. Weird. Okay. Yeah, I have it somewhere, hidden away.
Okay. But yeah. Das basically says that, or he explains, I think at this stage, having Simeon come back would be a boon morale-wise for the kingdom. One thing I would be careful of, though, when providing these magics in general, is people might be wondering why you haven't brought the king back.
Wasn't the saying that we can't because he aged to death?
Yeah, we have considered bringing back the king, but it is impossible.
That's what I mean, though. As far as we, the people in this room, are aware, there is a limitation on resurrection magics, and as you say, the king had aged to death. While it might have been accelerated by terms of cosmic rule, I suppose, he died of natural causes, out of a state that is not necessarily capable of being brought back. But to the average layperson, that might not be an easy pill to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose that is my 2 cents on the matter. Or my 2 rupees on the matter.
Well, I think they're just gonna have to deal with it.
Given that it is more within your capability than it is mine, and for the sake of professional, keeping things unbiased and professional, I shall defer the matter of actually resurrecting him to you. I personally would like to see him back. He was a welcome breath of fresh air within many of the circumstances that exist within the nobility and political machinations of the rest of the kingdom. But, as said...
I understand. I personally think that having Minister Simeon back at court would be beneficial to King Marius.
Yeah, I've met Rickshaw too.
Yes.
I heard he stinks.
That rumor has been going around, but I don't tend to hang around with the gossip mongers too much.
It's not so much gossip, it's prestidigitation.
So I thought you were going to say it's not so much gossip as it is indisputable fact.
That too.
I have here a signed confession from Rickshaw himself saying that he stinks. Ignore the fact that I forged his signature.
Let me see. I have a sleight of hand bonus of 17. I could probably do that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Lord Das will simply just nod and say,
in the meantime, forgive me, I do need to take some rest. I haven't had a chance to get to sleep yet.
I understand. I apologize for delaying your rest.
You needn't apologize. You want to know. I wish you luck with your endeavors, of course, and you have my full personal support in this matter. I simply apologize I was unable to provide any more aid.
I appreciate your insights.
Like, if Simeon were here, would you have a means to investigate that stuff that you were talking about?
Maybe.
Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind then. Thank you.
Of course, and thank you too.
he kind of has his head politely and hops up from his chair to make his way to bed.
Yeah, we'll show ourselves out.
Yeah. So you head back out into the streets. I'm guessing next place of business would be Uriel's?
Yeah.
I think I would like to split off as they are headed to Uriel's, I'm going to Lord Simeon's estate.
Okay.
Okay.
Suppose someone needs to find him.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to cast ritual cast detect magic.
It's gonna be
and
hard to
I'll
do
be
any of
looking
this
around.
stuff if we can't find him.
Yeah. Yeah. You quickly head over to Lord Simeon's estate. You ritual cast detect magic. As you get there, you do see the faint outline of Simeon standing where his office used to be. The door is open as you enter in, but it's been a couple of months now.
Okay.
The place has been emptied in order to make way for renovations. So he's kind of just wandering around the empty walls of his old home. Hard to tell his countenance, given you can only really see the faint outline. But he's just... Well, you can... Actually, give me an insight check so that we have a roll.
Sure. First roll of the day is a 18.
Okay. So with an 18, you can tell he's probably lost in a spout of nostalgia. Like, from his perspective, he's only been, like, dead for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Given how the time dilation in the Plane of Lament worked. But there's a part of him where he's just kind of looking around and, like... I don't know, it's difficult. Maybe he's properly contemplating this time the fact that he is no longer among the living.
I kind of tilt my head for a moment, looking at him in this state. I put a finger to my lips, then pointed at him, and I message, "Good afternoon, Lord Simeon. It has been a while."
Let's see.
If he's a ghost, he's a creature, he can receive message.
Yeah. He turns and looks to you, somewhat surprised by your presence, and he says, "It is good to see you, Renji. Odd circumstance this, eh?"
Indeed. I will keep casting message. We have just spoken with Lord Das regarding your upcoming resurrection attempt.
I see.
He won't be doing it himself, that is not his purview. But we are looking for someone to help us with that. We personally do not have the magic to do so.
Understood. Well...
Is this still something you wish to go through with?
He kind of, like, looks about a bit. Says... I would very much like to come back to the world of the living. But I am also aware that the circumstances as they are, it is not of the highest priority.
I think you sell yourself short, Lord Simeon.
See the outline shake his head and say, "It is not a matter of self-worth, Renji. It is a matter of practicality.
Yes,
I am not going
I understand.
anywhere."
But the force of good that you can be when advising and supporting the king, especially in this time, he's not a king that has natural self-confidence.
I understand that. But I also know that there are other factors at play here. From, at the very least, observing your activities. We are not in a situation that is to our liking.
That we can agree on.
My recommendation at this point in time is that there are a number of things that you need to resolve to ensure safety of all involved before you bring me back.
Lord Das also has had misgivings about whether or not you were free from the Plane of Lament.
That is not what I meant.
Elaborate?
You had all told me of your adventures when we first reunited, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I had been witness to your conversations with Lady Risha and Lady Milrose in Sarkoza, correct?
Yes.
So I am aware of the threat that Cassandra and Gorspire currently present. And given the situation that has brought us to this moment, I know for certain that that is not the tip of the mountain, so to speak.
Do you have other knowledge?
You saved my soul from a demiplane being created by some kind of fiendish lich. Who's to say that his ambitions were only my soul or the souls of a few innocent and easily led people? Out of this arbiter that you have yet to find.
Yes, there are other things at stake. Certainly.
You need as many resources as you can in order to see this through. Be it coin, magic, whatever.
Knowledge. Guidance.
Renji. It is okay. I can wait a few days, weeks longer. It will be lonely, sure, but I can take a few days of loneliness, and I'm sure that the kingdom is strong enough to weather the absence, or mine absence, for a little while longer. So long as its brightest stars are able to find the darkness and extinguish it before it is too late.
I think Lord Simeon would be able to see this conflict in Renji's face, where it's not so much like I'm currently unable to help my confidence, but more like, why won't you listen to me? And I think that's like an issue with Renji taking over the Harvester's essence for now. Lord Simeon, we are set on getting you back. If there are things that need to be done in order to alleviate any problems that stand between us and your resurrection, we would need to know of this.
Unfortunately, I am unable to provide that information. Mostly because I do not know it myself. But I am simply stating, if there are other priorities that you need to take care of, then I will not stand in the way of that. And it's important to me that you are able to accomplish these things. I know that the first attempt at my resurrection was not exactly cheap. I remember that the similar price had to be paid when you brought back Sho and he needed to be freed from petrification. I was willing to pay that because I had that resource, and at the time none of us were aware as to what was going to transpire so long ago. But in these times, when there are so many things happening, if you have to weigh options, then I would rather you do so in favor of the safety of the kingdom rather than myself. I will accept whatever you do. I will accept whatever process you go through in order to bring me back. But if you have to make a choice, then I would rather you choose the other option, because I can wait, as I have said.
Renji looks around. Is there any books left?
The whole place has been cleaned.
Darn it. I'll grab from my pack, like, pretty much a sheaf of papers, all notes and things that I've written down from our adventures, and I'll just start laying them out on probably the ground. I cannot say that I have the most gripping writer's voice. But at least you'll have something to do. I don't think it's useful to have you tagging along with me personally.
Thank you.
Are we with Renji or not?
Renji split off to do this, and I think unless
Yeah, we went to Uriel's.
Yeah.
I was just
And
thinking, I had a funny idea. You could just pay someone to sit there and like read books aloud each day.
There's that, or like
Excuse me, I would
turn
like to hire.
pages
I would like to
every-
hire a living audiobook.
but yeah, as Lord Simeon says thank you, like there's a little bit of that warmth of like personality returning. I just miss you as well. Something like this isn't exactly the best.
I miss all of you too. But it will not be forever. We'll see this through to the end. I have every confidence.
Yes, of course. And I'll try and get to you as often as I can and update you. I also have to, get my notes back when you're done with them.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think at that time, Detect Magic runs out.
Yeah.
And I head over to Uriel, but I think by that time you'll probably be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
It depends on how much shopping we end up doing.
It depends.
So
I don't have the money to get what I want, so.
you head over to Uriel's. The door's still slightly damaged from the last night's fuffle. But thankfully it is not locked, and you knock and open it. It opens out into the long golden hall-like room, and Uriel's just kind of like leaning back on in a chair by the counter, and you can see there is a large goblet with a steaming liquid in it, and he's just, welcome to Uriel's magnificent. Oh, it's you. Come on in.
You feeling okay?
Boy, I'm tired.
Did you not get yourself a ring of expedient rest?
I didn't think I damn need one. Just slurps on the goblet of clearly coffee and just puts it down again. Says, everything okay at the castle?
More or less.
Good.
It was a very impressive wall. I hopped over it twice.
It's a good thing that none of them bastards could fly. So, I did ask y'all to come and speak with me, and that's perfectly fine. And as he kind of like sits up straight in the chair, like leans over slightly to get a box and puts it on the counter and opens it towards you, and you see 4 small crystal pendants with like a swirl of black pixel that just runs inside them and says, figured I'd make some use out of this thing that your dream friend has decided to bequeath upon us. And just shifts it forward and says,
Don't worry, he doesn't tell us shit either.
problem with dreams, they have to be esoteric and cryptic, otherwise they ain't
No, they
dreams.
Mine are always very straightforward.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. But these here are pendants that will allow you to make use of whatever little twilight energy is kept inside. Just keep a hold of it 3 times per day, or 3 times per dawn, roughly when the magic comes back into it. If you wanted to, you could transform into whatever beast form you had beforehand. It'll only last you for a minute. Mechanically speaking, as an action, you can use the pendant to turn into the beast form you had beforehand with all the benefits as described before.
Yay!
Lasts for a minute, and then you poof. And then, regardless of your position in physical space or what you were doing at the time, you poof back into your regularly scheduled humanoid form. Yeah, all the benefits previously of your beast form have transferred over, of course. But yeah, I suppose in the case of Zayden, you have basically 3 additional wild shapes, so long as they're a black bear, but that black bear has some extra shit that lets you continue using spells and everything else.
My goodness, this is powerful.
Does it also give us the extra? It doesn't also give us the extra health bar, though, right?
No. You still maintain your original health bar. It's just that you basically transmogrify yourself to be able to do the beastie thing.
So it's not. It's a bit less than a wild shape.
Yeah, it's a bit less than a wild shape.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
But
add it to my list as pendant of bear.
Pendant of bear.
I have a fly speed for a minute. That's great.
Yeah.
I will
Vice is
make
just
this
kind
a
of
necklace of stout.
Max is just kind of looking at it, kind of skeptically, like,
You don't have to use it, but if you want to keep it, that's fine.
If you have the write-up, I'm going to make it a homebrew item for...
Let's see. I mean, the mechanics
do
will
have the
probably be
write-up.
in the so the Twilight turned into a beast pamphlet. But I suppose we can get rid of the Arcana or Sleight of Hand thing when casting spells and stuff, because I imagine by this point you probably have got it down pat. Like, with enough practice, you'll be able to use it.
We've got it down pat.
Yeah. But yeah, so Uriel provides that, and then he kind of flops back a bit in his chair, takes another big helping sip of coffee, and then puts the goblet down and says, "So, what? I mean, that's all yours. I've taken care of that now. But what? You have any other things you need to take care of?"
Scroll of Resurrection.
Ooh. And he kind of mulls that over a bit. Right off of the shelf here. Scrolls. Spell scroll. Resurrection's 7th level, right?
Yes.
Okay. Alright. Kind of like pushes himself from his chair, wanders over to one of the lock boxes, turns the handle, pulls the drawer out like a little bit, then turns the whole drawer and pulls that. An entire section of the wall comes free, where like shelves upon shelves of scrolls just kind of brush past like one of those extra rich conveyor belt closets. And eventually he stops it, and he pulls out a scroll tube from the shelf, and he examines it over and says, "One fire resurrections, resurrection spell, not true. True's too powerful, can't get that. But let's see. Now, I do have a price that runs on this one. I'm aware of what y'all done. Ordinarily, I would have been happy to provide you with some level of discount, but I also just spent every ounce of my magical capability putting a wall around a bigger wall, so normally this would run you 50,000 gold pieces. Normally. Now, the thing is, that's not going to cut into your material component budget. I don't think when it comes to spell scrolls, you have to also supply the diamonds that is part of the spell. You basically cast a spell into a piece of paper, and then you release it at a later date. But you only get one shot at it. I'm willing to go down to 40,000 gold. 20% discount.
Okay, we'll have to keep that in mind. Because I don't got that much.
Sad.
I've got 3,000, but I'm also not there just yet.
I have 144.
I was going to say, I don't think even if we pulled all our stuff together, we could afford it. Because I'm also not going to ask Zayden to help pay for it, because Zayden's got a bunch of diamonds that he needs for his goal.
Yeah. Guy of like says, like, well, I'll put it on the shelf. I'll put a little reserve sticker on it, and he just kind of flicks a wrist, and like a little tassel that says reserved for later just appears in it. Attaches it to the scroll case, puts it back on the shelf, and pushes the shelf back into the wall where it settles nice and neatly, and says, I doubt it's really needed. Most people who can afford that don't usually find themselves in a situation where they need to use that. They typically find themselves going in other less favorable directions. But it's there and ready for you to have.
Thank you.
Not a problem. So, while we're here, anything else you'd like to be purchasing? Something that might be more within your price range?
I know it's not within my price range.
I don't think there's much in this entire shop that's in my current price range.
So theoretically speaking, if I were to provide the materials of a thing, is that a discount of any means?
Well,
Like raw
normally.
materials. Because, like, what I was thinking, and I had the thought, like, literally 5 minutes ago, there's a Helmasaur King tail that would totally make a good substitute for a dragon skin belt, which is what they're, or dragon scale belt, which is what they're called in Fizzbands, which increases the save DC of monk saves by 3, up to 3.
I see.
So that's what Alvarez was thinking.
He says, well, there are 3 they're basically your little triforce, I suppose, of commerce, which is materials, time worked on it, and then eventual profit when it comes to selling stuff like that. If you can eliminate material, as it were, to try and do a thing with a thing, then that could provide a substantial discount. Is like a discount by itself is just cutting into your profit margin, you know? So
Trying to find the specific item so I can tell you what it is.
Okay, that's all right.
And we can get an actual price on it, but
yeah. But yeah, he'll happily say, like, yeah, he'll probably take a third off the price, because it means saving him having to source it himself.
I got it. It is a +3 Dragonhide belt from Fizzbands. It is a very rare item.
Okay, so that would be,
I believe 10k.
Yeah.
I'll just paste the information here.
Thank you. But yeah, he'll consider that if you can provide him with the materials for it, and like if you have the Helmasaur King tail on hand already. I don't know if you just kind of left the corpse suit where it was.
I had this idea 5 minutes ago, so unless we're willing to retcon some things in which Hikan just starts dragging the corpse suit out of the fucking castle, which I don't think would be allowed.
That's all right. I'd say you probably
need fancy scales. I have the Hydra scales as well.
I was thinking that it had to be something like I don't know to what extent that it is, and I know that Helmasaurs, much less Helmasaur Kings, would probably be to the same extent of dragons, and I'm avoiding dragons because we have a dragon skin sorcerer.
Yeah.
There is that.
Yeah, you can't have my skills.
I don't want your scales.
I would say
them myself.
I'd say that you could probably, like, I'll say chances are it probably will take a while for them to actually move the body. Like, they probably would have said, okay, nobody in the throne room for now until sometime later when we can get a proper disposal system going. But it'll probably still be available for you to acquire. So Hikan can have something of an idea of, like, not necessarily like for the item, but he could just like see the thing and be like, I wonder if this is useful, and then like present it to Uriel, who could then lead in that direction.
That's generally what it would go down to at that point. Yeah. Especially because the damn thing hit me so many times, both before and after the Helmasaur died.
We can always handle that next session.
But yeah. Otherwise, there's as you're kind of like discussing this, and Renji eventually pokes his head into the store. Who has the
head?
Who has the sending stone?
That would be me.
I was gonna say something as well.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Was the front door still broken in Urals?
Damaged but not non-functional.
Well, while he's bored during the conversation, and goes to just try and fix the door, as soon as he touches his own magic, Max falls to his knees and starts screaming in pain.
Oh.
Wings time. And he's just like clawing at his back for a few moments. And then the wings happen.
Oh no.
They're just like, because he's still wearing his clothes, they do rip out of his outfit.
Yeah.
Straight through, because they ain't stopping the wings happening.
No.
Nope. We now
Renji gets back just in time to see this.
Oh.
Wow.
A hell of an arrival time.
Like,
Indeed.
Uriel wakes up a bit more, and like sees this happen, and as the wave says, "Oh well."
Ow.
I'm go and get some like medicine. Back in a sec. Just disappears into a door, and then comes back moments later with like towels and bandages and like vials of medicine. Though he probably doesn't get back time in soon enough before the rest of the party act.
Max is just like on his hands and knees, not really sure what just happened. He hasn't looked over his shoulder yet.
I think it's one of the first times that Hikan hesitates before giving first aid and isn't really sure if they're okay to touch, so goes pointedly around, giving them a wide berth to see if Max would like some help getting to his feet.
And as Renji approaches, sees probably Max in the doorway.
Yeah.
So I just somewhat unaffectedly says, "Are you planning on taking flight?"
What?
Points at the wings.
When he does look at them, he just immediately tries to scramble away into a wall.
I take it that was not planned.
What the fuck?
Well, if I might make a assessment based off what I've seen from Maxwell and Maximilian, I'm a hazard a guess and say that your use of your power has caused you to, I guess, evolve in some way, shape, or form. I mean, you look like you're in pain a lot, so I got you some just pain medication. And he kind of like puts it on the floor. He doesn't like get too close to Max. He just kind of puts it on the floor, but he doesn't like appear threatening in any way, shape, or form. He just says, "How are you feeling?"
Confused.
Okay.
Ow.
Well, he raises the hand, stops, and then says, "Would you like to see your reflection, or no?"
Not right now.
Alrighty. And he then like pauses a moment, gets up, goes to another lockbox, takes out a hat, and then goes back over, places it next to the medicine thing, and says,
I gather from your previous experiences with this whole thing that you're not exactly a fan of too many eyes on you. The hat is on the house for the moment if you want to use it, but for now, if you just, I'll let you figure what you're going on out, and then we'll take it from there, okay?
Only half paying attention as he's just reaching up with his one bare hand to just poke at them.
Yeah.
It's not bare
Flinching-
hand, it's
flinching-
dragon hand.
And flinching a bit when it's like, oh, I can feel that in the wing? That's weird.
Yeah.
I have new limbs now. This is weird.
This is very odd.
And like Uriel kind of nods a bit at this, and then looks to the other and says, "Oh, want coffee? I'll get some more coffee." And then stands up and heads back into the back rooms of his little shop. And given the time, I think that is where we will call it for now. So thank you, everybody.
I just like to imagine, just a quick thing, just like as we're all sitting here finishing stuff up and watching after Max, it's like in a moment of silence, Hikan just looks at Renji and goes, "Oh yeah, it's 40,000 gold, or 40,000 rupees, by the way."
Oh dear.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you everybody so much for listening / watching. I have been Articulate T. This has been episode 106 of Hyrule Chronicles, Legend of Zelda Dungeons and Dragons campaign. With me as always, I have had Renji Vox being played by the lad.
Happy anniversary!
I have had Hikan Sio being played by Avrdal.
We still only got halfway through the list.
Mm-hmm.
I have had Zayden Shari being played by Robopart.
Bye now.
And I have had Max being played by Keistrith.
I like leaving my boy in situations he hates.
We'll see you guys next time. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.